everyone. My name is Carmen Estela. Oh, I don't have a clicker for the thing. So let me just do it from back here. My name is Carmen Estela, and this is Social Engineering Your Network, Hacking Human Connections. So as we go through here, why this talk? Everyone knows how to talk to each other. They're always told, know your body language. Make sure you stand up straight. However, this dives a little bit deeper into it. And oftentimes, a lot of people think networking feels a bit like a chore. It's not something they really want to do. They go more out of obligation or because they want something to drink. But, it is important to go and make sure you reach out to these people. And most InfoSec professionals also tend to focus a bit more on tools. They think the best way for the job is to get their certifications, get their trainings, make sure their resume is buffed, which is important. I am not discrediting that. However, there's more to it, especially when it comes to interviewing, talking, and making these connections. And you also have to remember, when it comes to hacking human connections, it is not manipulation. It's human understanding. The original social engineering. So everyone knows what social engineering is to an extent. People know that it has been something that people have been doing since the dawn of time, or at least until the dawn of hacking. Now, most people here know what phishing is, right? When you have some prince emailing you saying they love you and they need money, or it's like you get a random email from like your grandma saying that she's lost over in California when you know she lives in Florida. Now, there's also a new thing that's been happening. It's vishing, which is voice phishing. This can happen through deepfakes online. You might find people using photos of people you care about and recreating it online. Or I've also seen lately people have been pretending to be news anchors and posting fake news online, which has been a little bit scary at times. So how can these tactics be used in career building? Well, first thing first impressions matter. So many people say you have 7 seconds to make an impression. And this isn't 7 seconds starting from hi. It's 7 seconds starting from they see you, they notice you, they want to talk with you. From there on, they are scanning, whether cognitively or unconsciously, they're making sure that they know almost anything about you before they even say hello. Do you look like a threat? Do you look like someone who's nice? Will I connect with you? What is happening? Why should I talk with you? Now, when you go up and say hi, you're playing in with verbal elements. And throughout this thing, there's 3 main aspects you want to focus on. One is body language. Do you appear confident? Do you look confident to the point of cocky or just more sure of yourself? Appearance. Do you look prepared? Are you dressed for this occasion? How are you looking with your hair, your manners? And tone. How are you talking? Are you talking like someone I want to have a conversation with? Or are you talking like someone who will make me feel like I shouldn't be here? So going to the basics, body language. Now everyone knows, of course, you need to stand tall, look confident, don't be slouching. However, it's also important to look at micro expressions. So one big thing I really want to emphasize is you all know you need to watch your body language. I'm not going to go and teach you that. You guys have known that for years now. You also need to see what you are receiving from the other person. When you say things, how are their eyebrows moving is a big indicator. Do they look like they want to intervene? Do they want to say something? What are their micro expressions telling you? You also want to go and, of course, avoid fidgeting, avoid cross arms. And I say this as someone who loves to fidget. The best thing I do when I want to hide if I'm feeling nervous or antsy is I'll try to keep everything within the palm of my hand so I feel like the groove of my nail a lot. But I try not to accidentally put my hands together, especially because that can lead into almost the crossed arms aspect, which makes me feel or make me look not friendly, a bit mean, a bit grouchy. And when it says try to match height, it is not saying try to become 6'4" to match the NBA player you're talking to. It's like if you're sitting down and someone comes to talk to you, stand up, match with them. Or if you're trying to talk to someone who is sitting down, sit down as well. It plays a little bit into no one wants anyone towering over them. That is something I really try to emphasize and tell people. And a big important thing, especially with conferences like these, if you see someone you want to talk to and they're in a group, if you're going to go talk to them, don't soul them out. Don't go and just glare at them facing only them. Face the center of the group. Make it look big, appearing, and be friendly because you also don't know who else might be there. They might be someone even more related to your niche that you might want to talk to. Now, when it comes to appearance is more than clothes. I'm not saying you need to go out and buy Michael Kors or the highest brand, finest linen, silk made only from spiders. No, you don't need that. However, I will say you want to dress appropriate to the function. Now, I usually just say business casual is always the safest bet. If you're going somewhere, usually it's business casual or up. However, of course, if you're going to like a fun little work social out on the beach, dress appropriate to that. A safe outfit, I always tell people, is a button-down shirt and a blazer or a jacket. I always love a good jacket. I feel like that can help fix any outfit if you need to make it look more elegant. And if it's a little bit more casual, you can always just take it off. So, what are you saying? When talking, try to sound friendly but confident. You want a nice little blend, because if you sound like you know everything and you argue with anyone who disagrees with you in the name of confidence, that's not going to help with your network. It's going to make people want to avoid you. Going on, do not pretend to know about something when you don't, because you know what? I know a lot of people here, they know their niche. They know exactly what they want, when they want, and they know everything about their topic. So when you pretend that you know something, you will be corrected, because no one wants to be misinformed. And when you get corrected, it's not someone trying to be rude or trying to tell you what to do. No, it's just because sometimes when something's wrong, it's wrong. You just take it and you walk with it. Now, there's a formula I like to use when I meet someone, where it says, "Hi, my name is blank. I do blank. What do you do?" So, for example, can I have like there's a volunteer, super fast? Thank you. All right. If you want, whichever is easier for you. Okay. So I'm just going to start with the sentence basically above. You tell me your response, and I will show you how I'm going to respond to that. Is that okay? Yeah, if you want, you can meet the formula, or you can do whatever you want. So it's, "Hi, my name is Carmen. I study digital forensics. How are you?" "Oh, really? Where did you study?" You see, and because then that can lead into a nice conversation about Oklahoma, and just also how you study digital forensics. Was it your bachelor's, master's, certificates? There's a lot of different avenues when it comes to even just something as brief as that, because you can take it, analyze it, and run with it. So the power of listening. Linda, listen, Linda. So power of listening is super important, because almost like what I showed here, even with that one second, that one sentence you told me, I was able to think of at least 3 different ways to continue that conversation. You want to make sure you're listening and not just paying attention. Also, because you never know what little snippets you might find in conversations. Because if you're looking for a job, someone says, "Hey, I'm the hiring manager. I'm out here looking for this." You might only hear hiring manager, and then you pound them on a bunch of questions that are not related to what they're looking for. However, if you listen to what you're looking for, you have maybe a few certificates or like a few, just even an interest in it. You can then talk and work from there. So, yes. Oh, and also, make sure that you acknowledge everyone in a group when you're talking to someone. Because if I'm trying to talk with person A and he was talking with person B, and person B says something and I ignore them for person A, that would make me a rude person. And if I was B, I would not want to talk with me. So moving past awkward small talk, it will happen. It's going to happen, However, sometimes you just have to try to pivot and work with what you got. So, for example, if someone says, just a statement that sounds a little bit sour to you, you don't really like it, you don't really love it, try to ask an open question in a different direction. Now, something I like to tell people is networking is very much like dancing. Because when you have a good conversation, you can feel that beat. You take a step forward, the other person takes a step forward, and it's sort of like either a game of hot potato or a dance where you're trading off. And I love those conversations so much, because those are the ones that stick with me. Now, and you also want to use shared context if you're trying to start a conversation with someone. For example, we talked about digital forensics, which is great for the conference. Then we talked about why you're at HackRedCon, why are you doing this or that, and how can you go and just work with it. And sometimes when you meet with these people, you're not always going to gain something from it. You're not. But it's also just nice to have these people in your connections, in your LinkedIn, and also just to make friends. Like I said, we're here to learn how to socialize, not to manipulate people. and when it doesn't go right, because there will be times where it doesn't go right. And I say this from so much experience of things not going right. You know, a lot of times it may make you feel bad that you're down for the count, that you sort of just want to go to your hotel room and leave. You can't do that. I mean, physically you might be able to, but you're not going to grow from that. You need to be able to take the punch and just run with it. Because you know what? Yeah, maybe person B doesn't like me and person A doesn't like me, but I can still go and try meeting person C. Because why stop just because something doesn't go right? No, I can guarantee you, no one's going to remember you after that night if something goes bad. And if you like truly mess it up, no one's going to remember you after like a week. Not that you're forgettable, but you know, you just take these things and you learn and you grow. So don't be afraid to try again. Don't let one bad interaction ruin the rest of your day. And I know it is easier said than done, but this is true. You need to be able to work, evolve, and just become better, because there's no other alternative to that. So digital networking hacks. Find a way to connect with people using platforms like LinkedIn, Discord, or X. You want to comment more than like. So for example, I know LinkedIn has a lot of those very generic congratulations responses. Sometimes you don't tell me wrong, you can do that all you want. I do that as well. I feel like a lot of people do. And that's very good for at least showing that you want to do something more than just a like. But I always tell people it's best to write something at least a little bit personalized. You know, just be like, instead of congratulations, be, oh my gosh, this is great, so happy for you. Even if it sounds generic, just do something that's just a little bit more effort, because that effort is shown and that effort is appreciated. And also, slide into DMs tactfully. Okay? Please be tactfully about this, because, you know, what I say is, after I meet someone, I like to shoot them a small text on LinkedIn. I usually say like, hey, I'll say my name, I'm Carmen. I'll give a visual cue. So I'll be like, I was the girl in the brown jumper. And then just like a little something about our conversation, like, thank you for attending my speech. Or I really liked talking about blah, blah, blah. You know, it's just something that makes it personal. It makes them remember you as well. Because last thing you want is to work so hard meeting people, you connect in LinkedIn, and then you don't follow up. You're forgotten about for the most part. Because then all those micro steps you took to get to that point goes to waste. So just to recap, you want to network like a hacker. First things first, scan. Observe your environments, observe your people, and find your target. When you find that target, you want to exploit it. Not manipulate, but exploit it. So when it comes to that, you want to find shared interest and approach. You're going towards this target, and then you're going to execute, which is building a genuine connection. It's not a connection just because you want to be like, oh my gosh, I want to be mutuals with this person. No, you want to go and be like, hey, I want to be your friend. I want to learn from you. I mean, I say this to everyone because I'm not afraid of saying this. When I make connections with someone, even with all my best friends, everything in short is going to be an exchange. Because you're not going to do something because you get nothing from it. You do it because you get, friendship. You get a laugh out of it. You get some sort of connection from it. Everything in life comes at an exchange. And as soon as you realize that, it makes things a lot more easier in a sense. Because you can even get happiness from someone. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Oh, and also, maintain access, follow up, make sure you ensure that those connections are still there. Because you know what? Even if you meet someone at HackRedCon and you're not able to go to any other conference until the following year, even if you just say congrats or you go and follow up on their post on LinkedIn, or every once in a while just say, hey, so nice, I want to catch up, are you free? That can help make sure that you're keeping those connections and making sure that they're still there. I want to thank you guys so much for coming. Once again, my name is Carmen Estela. You can find me on LinkedIn. On Discord, my user is CarMeansNoHarm. And I really do appreciate you guys all showing up today. Thank you so much.